Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about, well, New Year's wishes and some tips to get through New Year's. So let's get started. One of the things that we haven't talked about in a while, and I'm just going to put up the short form of it, um, we've talked about this before, the holidays, especially holidays like Christmas and New Year's, where it seems like everybody's happy, and maybe you're not in a state where you feel happy, they're particularly oppressive because it seems like everyone else in the world is super happy and you are not. So 988 is the crisis hotline. We'll talk about more about that in a second. But again, the things I'm talking about here, these are things that have worked for me in the past. I'm not a medical professional. This isn't medical advice in any sense. I found the techniques personally kind of useful and helpful. And if they do you, then I hope that helps out some. But if you're really having many bad days or feel depressed or whatever, and especially tonight, this is being recorded on New Year's Eve, fell on a Tuesday this year, just dial 911, 988. Both those shortcuts, 911 gets you your local emergency service, 911 gets you the crisis suicide hotline, and it just somebody to talk to and help talk you through things and give you a different perspective on life. So good to know for yourself or for a friend. And like I said, I'll go back to that in a second. But if you like the standard opening, I wanted to get that because it's really important on tonight. If you like what you hear today, please leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me a message. And of course, thanks for joining me tonight to talk about, well, basically tolerating the holiday season and how to appreciate last year. It's very easy to look back on your past, and it's as they say, hindsight's always perfect. So you're looking back on your past and you think of all the things you could have done differently. Well, this is a way to set yourself up so next year you can appreciate the year as it goes along. And at the end of the year, you'll be able to appreciate the prior year. And also some ways to help start off the year a little bit better. And like I said, as I mentioned before, I know the holiday season, especially one of the things about Christmas in particular, there's all this, apparent conspicuous joy. Everybody seems happy. It seems that everybody's happy on TV, everybody's happy on social media. All the ads make everybody happy, and that can feel very isolating and depressing. And I used to, back at various times in my life when it used to make me feel sad, I finally realized that much like social media, those thoughts, all those things that we read and see, they're focusing you or me on what I think I don't have and forgetting to remember all the things that I do have. And also, like social media, most people, and all the advertising very much so, they put a very public and often false appearance to make everything seem wonderful. So try not to get caught up in that. And there was a movie I saw, oh, jeepers, I can't remember when I saw it. It was a couple of years ago. It turned out it came out, it was in 2021. And the movie, the name of it's Feeling Through. If you search for that, Feeling Through, Omeletto, I guess that's how you say it, Omeleto. Check that out, put it into Google or whatever, and you'll come up with a link to YouTube. And it's an interesting movie. And the reason I bring that up is because chances are you still have some good things going on, even if they're small, and some joy to share with someone who is less fortunate. And it's easy to forget that. You get wrapped up, and I'm not minimizing anybody's circumstances at all, but it's just the way we're kind of programmed as people. You tend to focus on the negative things, and your mind does that on purpose so you can avoid them in the past. But that negative bias, that negativity bias, really does not always serve us well. And so you look back on yesterday and you think of all the bad things that happened. And you go, I got nothing. You say, share some joy. How do I have any joy to share with anybody? And so again, check out the movie Feeling Through, Omeletto, and it's about an essentially a city youth. He's essentially homeless, and he feels like he has absolutely nothing. And the movie revolves around him helping out a blind, deaf, mute fellow get home. And he then realizes that we all have the power to help others. So even though it isn't specifically about the holidays, the message is totally relevant. And it's a nice way to spend 20 minutes. It's an art short. I think it actually was nominated or won, but I think it was just nominated for an Academy Award. It should have won if it didn't. Um, it was a very moving movie, and it really changes your perspective on things and helps you, as we often talk about, looking outside yourself to the rest of the world. So that's step one on things is try and remember that even though things may be bleak, and they may be very bleak, I'm not minimizing that at all, chances are you still have the power to help somebody else. And when you do that, as we talked about before, when you look outside yourself, it changes your perspective on the world. And instead of always looking at all the things, scrolling on social media, what's going on, and reading all the books about how this or that, or in the newspaper and the ads, if you just talk to somebody else and you look at them and go, wow, they look really unhappy, say, hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, and they give you some story and you go, wow, that's too bad. Things pick up. You go, hey, thanks for listening. Voila, you just help somebody else. It's that simple. So, next topic is another friend reminding me of a really simple aid to help you get through the coming year. And that is you just take a big jar or whatever you have handy and some notebook paper, and there's probably electronic ways of doing it too if that's the way you want to do it, but the jar and paper works really well. And then every day before you go to sleep or during the day, write the date and maybe the day of the week on that slip of paper and at least one thing that was good about the day. It can be as simple, as you want, something very, very simple. But do try to avoid, negative good things like, well, I didn't get hit by a meteor or something like that. You probably had something that went okay. You know, even in the worst of the days, probably something happened, even if it was really small. Maybe carry the pad with you so you can jot it down as soon as it happens so you don't forget about it. It could be, little tiny things. The person in front of me let me check out first because they saw I was in a hurry. Anything at all that's a positive thing that happened in your day. And then fold up that piece of paper when you get home or if you're at home and put it in the jar. And that's it for now. And if you have a good day and you notice more than one thing, you can put in multiple notes, but at least one per day. Then, whenever you think everything is going wrong in your life, reach into the jar, grab one or a couple pieces of paper, and read them to yourself. It does at least 3 or 4 things to help you out. It makes you stop and notice when something positive happens in your life right off the bat. Because you say, oh, I got to write this stupid piece of paper tonight. And so I got to be looking for something good. And don't you find some good things? Oh, there was a quarter on the ground. I found a quarter on the ground. It could be anything at all. And when you're writing it, that forces you to focus on the positive thing when you're actually writing the note out. And that's one of the nice things of actually writing it out because it involves your motor skills and your eyes and your brain and more of your senses and more of your skills. And so it's more likely to stay in your memory. And so now you've had to focus on it. First, we were looking for something positive. Now you had to kind of focus on it when you're doing it. And then when you see the jar, it reminds you that it's full of good things that have happened in your life. You look at the jar and it's half full and it's only April. It's kind of like, wow, the year's only 1/4 done and the jar is half full already. And then when you read the notes, it helps to remind you that good things did actually happen in the past. But most of all, remember that your past, our past, is a learning tool to help us understand the present and a guide to the future. Because our past doesn't predict our future. People make this mistake a lot, and we've talked about this before, is that they think tomorrow is going to be like yesterday. It doesn't have to be. Yesterday was a learning tool. Tomorrow, yes, you can repeat yesterday, or you can look at yesterday and what you didn't like about it and try and change it. So you can use the past to help improve your future, and it gives us tools to learn from. We all make mistakes. We all could have done things better than we did them. But at the time, we thought things we were doing were probably about the best that we could do. So give yourself some grace, learn from the past, refine your vision, and start taking steps to live life more aligned with that future that you want to live. It still won't be perfect. There'll still be challenges and stuff, but it will continue to improve. And also very important, we talked about this a lot, avoid negative self-talk because that just creates this downward spiral. When you catch yourself talking negatively to yourself, revise it right in that moment as something more positive. Instead of saying, oh, that was a dumb thing to do, try, well, that was a learning lesson. And, we'll have to try and remember next time to try something different, I guess. Just turn anything around from a negative thing to either a neutral or a positive thought. But if you do get yourself into a negative state of mind, especially when it seems like the whole rest of life is just, the whole rest of the world rather is totally happy, and of course remember they're not totally happy. Most likely they're all making believe they're happy because they all spent $1,000 to go to New York City and watch the ball drop. And they're going to look happy even though they're not. But don't be bashful. Dial 988 for the crisis hotline. It doesn't mean you're weak, rather it means you're really strong enough to care about yourself. So again, just to recap really quickly, check out the one movie I mentioned. I'll bring it up again. Feeling Through Omeletto. Check it out again. I'll leave it up for a second. You can copy it down. I'll put it in the notes for this episode as well. But it just remember, no matter how little we think we have, we all have something we can give to other people. Super, super important concept. And then just take a jar and some note paper, and starting tomorrow, and I mean tomorrow, not oh, I don't feel good tomorrow because I was out late or whatever. Just tomorrow, get that jar ready, get some slips of paper ready, and every day write down one positive thing, at least one positive thing, and stick it in the jar. And then when you have a bad day, you can go look at the jar, you can take some slips out and go, that's right. That was a day that nice person at work, gave me half the lunch because I realized I left mine on the bus or something like that. Things happen all the time. We train ourselves not to pay attention to those and train ourselves to look at the negative things. Retrain yourself to find the positive things in life as well. And if things are going really bad, dial 988. Talk to the people at the crisis lifeline. It's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. Sometimes, especially if you do find yourself alone for whatever reason, you can really talk yourself into bad situations. Just explaining your situation to another person instantly changes your whole perspective. And I've seen it happen. I've been involved when it's happened, and it's just incredible. Somebody starts to talk to you, and you can see as they're saying it, they're thinking about it and thinking, why am I telling this person this stuff? It's really pretty small. Why did I let it get so big in my life? So you have some tools to go through New Year's Eve, New Year's, and the coming year. I hope those things all help you out a little bit. And that's it for the evening. Just real simple thing. And simple homework. As we said, get a great big jar, some pieces of paper, and tomorrow, like I said, tomorrow, start collecting your daily positive notes for the rest of the year. And as always, please remember there's many wars, areas of political and social unrest throughout the world. Ukraine, Middle East, Ukraine, we have some links at ukr7.com. It's either rewritten or being rewritten now. Those are links to help the people in Ukraine, either directly or indirectly, financially. And then if Ukraine is not your top priority, World Central Kitchen, WCK.org. World Central Kitchen works in disaster areas around the world, do amazing things getting food to people directly following disasters. They're amazing. But we often talk about if you don't want to support one of these large, either foreign or multinational organizations, there's always a lot of local organizations you can support. That's great too. And if you're not able to, or just not in the mood to make any monetary contributions to somebody, you always have the power is just to do something little for somebody else. Like I said, just listen to them for 5 seconds, smile at them, wish them a good day. Just try and bring a little bit of happiness in somebody else's life, because one of the best ways we can care for ourselves is to care for other people, because it changes our focus from looking inward to looking outward, changes our perspective on the world. That's it for the evening. As always, thank you very much. I wish you all a wonderful new year, a fabulous new year, and a happy and safe New Year's Eve. And as always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along. Please subscribe, hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week and a great new year. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.